Okay, so the Black Ops Cold War beta. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts. I am one of those people. And while this review is a bit late, I honestly don't care. I want to review this and give my thoughts because, fun fact, I actually really enjoyed this beta. But there are quite a lot of problems. What are those problems? Well, there's one big one which I'm sure every one of you watching this has heard about. It's the 4 words that speak doom. Skill-based matchmaking. It's so bad in this game. In fact, it's just bad in general. Like, who decided it would be a good idea? Because I'd like to have a bit of a talk with them. When you're playing with people that has the same skill as you, you have to sweat every single game. And I don't want to do that. I just want to play some casual, you know? Get some streaks maybe, get some good gameplay. If I be like to sweat, then I'll go on to ranked play. Which has been in a lot of games, but not in Call of Duty. Half the time in this beta, I'll go as a really bad game, and because I went really bad in that game, I'll get into a game which I do really good in. You know, get my streaks, get a lot of kills, probably record it as a gameplay. But then, the very next game, I get destroyed. That is how bad skill-based matchmaking is in this game. I remember when the alpha came out and Big Noah J decided to make an entirely new account on his PlayStation 4 with no info on him whatsoever and played the alpha, and on his very first game he went off, he was destroying. The next game, he got caught with his pants down. He got twatted on harder than a year 7 kid who thinks he's hard and challenges a year 11 kid to a fight. The options that the community and me have all offered are either completely remove it or ever so slightly extremely hardly tone it down. Will they do this in the full game? Who the fuck knows? Another thing I'm not a fan of is the hit marker sound effects. I said this in my gameplay video. I'm just not a fan of them. I think that the ones that were used in the original Black Ops games were much better, and even the one that was used in the pre-alpha I think were incredible sound effects. For this one, generic and boring, it just sounds terrible. As well as that, operators make a return for Modern Warfare. If you don't know what operators are, basically they're characters that you pick, but they don't have any special abilities like in Overwatch or Black Ops 3. They only have voice lines and different backstories. They also have their own cosmetics, and one of the cool things about them is that they each serve a different faction. So for example, if I were playing as the Coalition faction, I'd only be able to play as operators from that Coalition faction. If I was playing as Allegiance, I can only play as Allegiance operators. Cold War does not have that. The operators are not faction specific, you can play as any operator you like in any faction you like. And it kind of breaks my immersion a bit. Like, I play as Frank Woods, which if you don't play as Frank Woods in this beta, I automatically don't like you. And seeing him, who honestly I believe would rather be a sex worker than a communist serving for the DGI, I'm not a fan. However, I can live with that. I don't think it is that deep, it's just a bit of a peeve that I have. Maybe they'll change it in the full game, hopefully they do, because there's barely any operators in the beta, so there's bound to be more. They also changed the streak system in this game, so if you don't know how streaks worked in the past, basically if you got as many kills as you could in a life, you'd get certain rewards like a K9 unit or a chopper gunner or OP things. Then they changed it to score, so as many scores you can get in a life, but this time it's as much score as you can get in a game. Your score streaks will not reset upon death. However, this does not mean that streaks don't matter, because what they've done now is when you get a kill you get 50, but if you get another kill in that same life, it doubles it, and then doubles it again, doubles it again, doubles it again, and so on and so on, and that will reset upon death, but your score streaks won't. And this doesn't exactly make them the easiest things to get in the world. For example, the chopper gunner is 5,000. Obviously, because they don't reset on death, it's kind of obvious, but it's still really hard to get nonetheless. But hey, maybe this will stop campers, which, you know, is always good. Now, things that I really like about this beta are definitely the maps. The 4 maps in the quick play section of the game are Cartel, Miami, Satellite and Moscow. And these are actually alright maps, except for Miami. I don't understand how people like this map. Cartel takes place in Nicaragua, which I'm sure you may recognise as one of the main places of Black Ops 2, as that is where our villain Raul Menendez used to live. And there are many Menendez related Easter eggs in the map, for example posters that say like long live Raul Menendez and something. His dad is also dead in one of the houses, which is a reference to his backstory. If you know his backstory, his dad was killed by the CIA because his drug cartel was going mad. And there's also a big old picture of him, just sat right there in the house. It's really cool and gives the idea of a possible return of Menendez in the campaign. Maybe we'll get a mission where we go off and kill his father, which sets up obviously the events of Black Ops 2. Miami is just... it's fucking Miami. Miami takes place in Central Africa, and a thing I like about this map is it works both with close quarters weapons and long quarters weapons. Okay, that didn't make any sense. In short, there's a big old desert area onto the side of the map where snipers are always fucking used. But then in the middle of the map, there's these big old rocks and these big old debris that form walls that give you a lot of close quarters options, and weapons like the Uzi, which I find a really good weapon, are used commonly throughout this part of the map. Satellite and Cartel are my two most favourite maps because most of the games that I had on them were absolutely perfect. I got all my streaks on them, I got really high kill games on them. They are my two favourite maps. Then there's Moscow, which is actually alright, and I actually really like the design of this. For a game that teaches history, this map does it extremely well. Because it takes place in the heart of the Soviet Union, it really shows what life was like back then. How some people in Generation Z call this an aesthetic is beyond me. Like, the conditions were absolutely horrible. There was artwork and propaganda painted all over the buildings, shoving itself into your face while you're going about your day-to-day lives, and many of its leaders weren't regarded as leaders, they were regarded as gods. Like, in the middle of the map there's a bloody statue made out of gold of someone who I can't be asked to look up, and it shows really well how life was in the Soviet Union. I really love the designs that they took for this map. It's absolutely amazing. The layout of it could be better, I'm not gonna lie, but I honestly don't mind. I have some alright games on it, so it's alright for me. And those are the only maps that I can tell you about, because I didn't play any Combined Arms, so I can't really tell you about that. But the maps are much better than Modern Warfare's maps. Modern Warfare impresses me on how terribly they made the maps. Like, you have the original 3-lane system, which no one liked and wanted to change. So then they're like, alright, let's do this, and they somehow managed to make a map system that was worse than the original 3-lane system. Like, it got to the point where the best map in the game is a 3-lane map. It's... good god. In terms of weapons and attachments, there's no monolithic suppressor, which, you know, kind of bummed out about that one, but it's a beta, it may be in the full game, I'm not sure. The AK-47 makes its glorious return, and it is gorgeous. Honestly, when I started using it, it was so good, I can't believe it. And the sniping, they actually fixed it. No more having to make all your concerns about designing your sniper be to actually have it aim down sights quickly. It just does it normally, which is what sniping should be. Like, yeah, make a game realistic, but sometimes it will just get to the point where it just sort of pisses you off. This game definitely fixes that. Now, the gun sounds obviously a bit of a step down from Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare, like, they recorded them from actual guns. I think they were really well done, but honestly I don't give a shit about gun sounds, to be honest. Like, I don't think anyone actually does. I don't think it'll take away from the actual gameplay. Like, just as long as it's good, which it is, I'm fine. Oh, but the soundtrack, the soundtrack is amazing. How do you make such a good soundtrack? When I first loaded up the game, it was sort of like, don't know how to describe it. It was very military based. It was kind of like a Russian choir, I guess, singing, and it was really good. But then you get into the actual multiplayer theme, and I'm using that as a background for this video because it's so good. It's so good. It's not as good as the Black Ops 2 one, but it definitely is a definite close up to it. It's so good. I remember half the time I was just sat in the waiting room with my mic on, just listening to it and scrolling through my phone. It's just so good. When the woman starts singing and there's that bloody guitar riff, it's too good. It's too good. But enough of me sucking off the soundtrack for this game. Those are my thoughts on the Cold War beta. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Some design choices they went for were absolutely amazing. You can tell they put a lot of work for this. For a game made in the COVID-19 lockdown, it's genuinely really well done. But without further ado, those are my thoughts, and I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and I hope to see you again. And when I do see you again, it's when I see you again. Thanks for double digits, by the way.